If you're a busy executive who works long hours but wants to lose weight and more importantly, keep the weight off, watch the next 30 minutes while I interview one of our clients, Josh, who successfully lost over 30 pounds and kept it off despite traveling full time for work and still being able to eat pizza. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview. I'd love, before we dive into anything else, do you mind just kind of giving a little background on yourself, like obviously where you're calling in from, and then also just what you do for work too?
I'm Josh. I'm calling in from the Seattle area. Um, I don't know that you have a whole lot of clients in the Pacific Northwest, but I have been with the team now for about 3 years. I am a busy professional because I am a health and safety manager in my professional life. It's my job to work with people to find ways to do their work safely. Um, But in addition to that, I'm busy in the community. I'm a volunteer leader in a few different volunteer organizations um, in my sort of professional field, but also just for fun. And then I like to hang out and enjoy downtime just like everybody else. So I definitely have a full schedule, but I really enjoy this program. I get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And over the past 3 years, I've had a lot of transformation. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about how that happened.
Awesome, man. Well, the only way we can do that is by going back to the old version
Day
of you.
one.
I don't know if, yeah, I don't know if you mind. I have some like side by sides here of just your transformation. Do you mind if I kind of pull those up for us?
Go ahead.
Awesome, man. So I know it's a long time, but bring us back to like where we were. I don't know if you're able to see this quite yet.
Yeah.
In this first photo here, man, like where were we at as far as not only like weight wise, but like mindset wise and just overall life?
Yeah. So I started back in June of 2022. I had um, a lot of recent changes in my life. I had a new job that was a little bit less than a year old. I had bought a new house. I had a whole bunch of new routines, and I'd really let my health and fitness and nutrition just slide, just trying to, hit the right goals in those other areas of my life and I just kept driving by the gym. I had a gym membership and every night I would drive by the gym thinking, man, I'm tired. I don't really want to go there. And I didn't go. Over and over again. Month over month, automatic deduction would come out of my bank account and I'd feel a little worse about that, but I just didn't consistently go. And I had actually during the pandemic participated in a completely different online coaching program um, and lost like 30 pounds. So I had gone through that transformation, regained all of that weight, and that's what this first picture is.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of consistency.
Yeah.
And just especially in my health and fitness journey, but lots of other wins going on in other parts of my life.
Yeah.
Uh, Fast forward to what looks like last weekend's photo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, before we dive into last weekend's photo, I want to hear like what was the because you drove by the gym, you said like every night. What was the breaking point for like going back into another journey after just losing the 30 pounds, getting back in? Do
oh
you
yeah.
remember what that was?
I was tired of feeling fat. I really was. Like that meant that I had to have different clothes. My stomach would stick out of my
Yeah.
shirts. And I just didn't really feel comfortable inside my own skin. And the more and more weight that I put back on, the more I felt that feeling underlying all day long,
Yeah.
despite the other wins that were going on in different areas of my life. And so that just adds up over time. And I think the 190 number is a trigger for me. Like I
Mm.
hate weighing more than 190 pounds. My frame just shouldn't, it's not built for that.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's a psychological barrier for me. And so I had crept back up over 170, over 180, and I was getting close to that 190 number again. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. Like I'm done sort of relying on myself to figure this out. I need some accountability to pull this off.
Yeah.
So that was a big trigger that sort of
Yeah.
got me to reach out to you. And And that's 191 pounds in that photo.
Just over that line then. Yeah. That's awesome, man. What was like, so obviously coming, you can come now to fast forward to this progress, which was, I think we said just this last week that we took this
Yeah.
photo.
That's
Now,
165 pounds.
so now we've lost that weight again that we end up gaining back on.
Yes.
Unpack that a little bit. Like, where are we at now? I guess from like, that's different than prior.
Yeah. So maybe the first time I did it in about 6 to 9 months. And then I didn't have a sustainment plan. I didn't have consistent coaching to follow up on. I exited the program and I thought I could do all of that myself. And I probably could have. Um, but I probably like lost that weight too fast and I got out of the program too fast. And I didn't have enough of the habits built to help me sustain. Um, Now I've got all sorts of habits to help me sustain. I could quit your program, Craig, and be very successful without you,
Hey, we
but
like that. Good, good.
but it's because of a lot of the mindset work and habit work that I've been building over the past 3 years. Everything from just starting to show up at the gym. The first month or two or three of my program with Coach Aaron was just about showing up, like show up,
Yeah,
um, get some of the workouts in, get some baseline information about the movements, and then
yeah,
start progressively overloading from there. And even today, that mentality helps me. Just show up and do something some days, because not every day is perfect. I know you preach this um, to everyone that will listen to you on a regular basis. As long as you do the work more often than you choose not to do the work, you'll get results like this. And I am living proof that that's working. And so I just learned to consistently show up. And then I learned to consistently progressively overload.
yeah,
And I learned to control my nutrition. I learned not to let
yeah,
like food restrictions really guide me in any way. Like I don't I I generally eat what I want as long as it fits into my macros most of
yeah,
the time.
yeah.
And I just eat less of it, when I'm in a calorie deficit. Like I eat pizza. I ate pizza on Sunday. So
No way. I'm not
I
allowed
ate cookies on Monday.
to. That's
So I
awesome.
just I make it fit into my diet.
Yeah,
And that's, I think, a lot of what I've learned over the past 3 years, just, showing up consistently, having a healthy relationship with food,
yeah,
not letting the bullshit excuses, um, change my mind on my way home from work,
yeah.
and just putting in the work and getting it done each week. And this transformation happened.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. I think a lot of people look at fitness as like taking away from life. And I think that like I think that's just because of all these different restrictive things that aren't actually enjoyable. Like you just said, you have pizza, you have these other things, and you don't really like it's not taking away from your life. I feel like anytime that starts happening to where it's taking away more than it's adding, it's like we're going into a not a good spot. But
Yeah.
also, like even in these pictures here, just looking at them, like this can't even do it justice for how different of a person I'm talking to right now than in 2022. Like I wish we had that call recording. I don't know where maybe Zoom has it, but you're just an entirely different person now, like that I'm even talking to. So do you mind, like, I guess, explaining outside of that, like what it's done for yourself in your career? Because you're obviously managing teams now yourself and like working very heavily, like you said, in communities and other things, which I don't think would be possible without you being so confident in yourself now.
Yeah, I think that just not shying away from accountability is how I'm progressing in those other areas of my life. So by practicing that with my coach and sort of overcoming that and just embracing accountability as part of my exercise and nutrition work, that bleeds over into other areas of my life. I'm far more resilient in my mindset because I'm putting in all this work and getting all the mental health benefits of it, but it's spilled into my job over the past 3 years where I've
Yeah,
earned promotions and certifications and just built so much confidence to just crush goal after goal after goal.
yeah,
And people around me see that and
yeah,
uh, they're promoting me for the work that I'm putting in at in my professional life. It's helped me gain leadership opportunities in my volunteer life.
yeah,
So I'm the president of a local professional association. And now sometimes I just pinch myself thinking, how did I even get here? But um, but when I apply the mindset that I learned, or just the accountability that I learned, and no excuses mindset that I'm just living day in and day out,
Yeah.
um, people gravitate to that, and they really appreciate someone that's going to meet their energy or challenge their energy and continue to help them grow, that cares about them. I think I've talked about in our group calls that um, by working on myself and ironing out a lot of this stuff, I'm able to pour more into others. And that's really important to me because I really appreciate interpersonal relationships and building community. And that's a huge takeaway for me as part of being in this program. It just bleeds into other parts of my life in a
Yeah.
very positive way.
It's incredible, man. It's cool to see you take that and do something even more amazing with it and go help other people. Because not everyone does that, right? So people like get the results are like sick, I'm good to go, like I'm chilling, and then they don't actually go and use that to pour into others. So the fact that you're already doing that, and like even thinking back to when we did that, it was a push-up challenge type thing we were doing for the children's hospital, and you were like all in on that. And it's like seeing someone like yourself that you get great results in your life, but then you use it as almost even more of a reason to pour into others is it's cool because not everyone does that. And there's no need, you don't have to, right? You can just take your results and go. But the fact that you use that to bleed into your members, your people, and your community, I think is, I mean, it's something special. And it's
Agreed. But Craig, that might be a testament to how you build your group too, right? Because
yeah,
I'm not the first person to give back or to think about how to help others. You've had other clients that have gone on to be coaches themselves,
yeah,
and really want to give back and help pay it forward for the stuff that they've learned as part of this program. Like you're just inspiring people along the way. So it's not just me doing the work and inspiring others. Like I pull that energy from you and the other coaches on the team too.
appreciate that. That means a lot. And obviously, it's like it's easier when everyone's doing it. I think. I think like the law of exposure, right? And we're all like exposed to like this is normal. Like that is a normal way to live life, and showing up, pushing yourself. Like it almost normalizes all of these things. And you've also helped normalize it for other guys in the group, like you doing these crazy things, which we'll dive into some of the crazy things that you have on the calendar this year in a
Yep.
minute. But before we do that, I want to hear from you because we talk a lot about habits and formation. You said that was one of the biggest reasons that now you feel like it's very different is you gave yourself enough time to build these very deep ingrained habits because building a habit and then reinforcing a habit is an entirely different thing. What do you feel like has been some of the top ones for yourself that you found to be true throughout like most of your journey, whether you were in a deficit, obviously, which we were more recently, and then even coming out of deficits, like what kind of holds true usually in those scenarios?
There's really no secret here. This is all stuff that anyone can do, right? But sleep is non-negotiable for me. It's always been the case my whole life that I can like midnight just fall asleep and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep with no problem.
Yeah.
But that consistent, even when I'm really stressed, I can consistently sleep, and that helps my body recover and build muscle while I'm, just sleeping. That's great.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people even have that as a baseline,
No.
but I'm thankful for that. So
That's a
that's a
good one to start.
baseline
That's a good
human.
one to start with. Yeah, it's, I
Yeah.
mean, don't sleep on sleep, right?
Yeah. Another big habit for me is tracking my food. Again, this not rocket science, but show me another person that has tracked their food for 1,950 days straight. That's how much data I have in my Fitness Pal, and that just empowers me to make better decisions over time. Um, what else? I have a meditation app. So even if I'm like driving, I try and like turn off the music, turn off the noise of the world and just like reframe and focus and make sure I have some time like that to myself each day. And I journal. So sometimes on the weekends, I'll bust out my journal. I'll write things down to get them out of my head. But every day, I also have this running note in my iPhone app that just says, what went well today? Because there's 1,000 things I could say that went bad. But if I start tracking all the things that went well, Even the little things like doing my habits, it's sort of a habit tracker, but it also is a positivity tracker. It gives me a way to continue to positively reframe as a habit all day, every day, so that I can look back and see some of the just little things or big things that happen over time as a way to reflect. Um, those, again, not rocket science, but those are some
Oh,
easy things that I do to
those
help
are
keep
amazing.
me grounded every day.
Those are amazing. And that last one you just mentioned there is huge because, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you don't do that ever, if you didn't do that, you probably would have left our program way back when, right? Because like we had to do a lot of like priming and getting ourselves ready to be able to drop that weight again, getting our metabolism into a really good spot
Yeah.
and getting a lot of other things worked out. That if you were only looking at one dimension of fitness and like if you weren't seeing
Yeah.
progress there, you probably would have, if I'm wrong, like correct me, but like you probably would
So
have
let's talk about that.
bailed.
So
Yeah.
if you looked at my chart, right? In
Yep.
my previous program, my weight chart went from here to here,
I'll pull it
just
up.
straight up. And I'm like, that's what most clients expect when they join a program. They want
Yeah,
some fast results. They want to see down and to the right as fast as possible. And
correct.
my 3-year chart doesn't show that at all. And that takes a lot of resilience to trust my coach to say, okay, maybe I need to reverse diet because I've been yo-yoing for a while, and then try a calorie deficit and see how that my body responds, and then reverse diet again, and then do a real calorie deficit that's going to get me closer to where I want to be. That 3-year journey is not something everyone is going to invest their time in. They're looking for quick results. And so, like you said, tracking other positive things that are happening along the way to maybe distract myself from how long it takes to get this kind of progress certainly helps reinforce all the holistic things that I need to do to sustain. And that's the whole reason why I joined the program, is to find a way, find some accountability and find a way to sustain my weight loss.
Yep, exactly. It's not a weight loss problem. You probably could have stopped eating and done a bunch of cardio and stuff and lost weight. It's a weight sustainability thing. And definitely I want to say like I am so proud and also grateful the fact that you trusted us so much to be on this call even today after we went through all that. Because like we knew in hindsight, like at one point or another, this was going to be where we were at. But
Yeah.
the fact that you trusted and you just stayed with it and you weren't looking for quick stuff like is amazing. Because like you said, most of the world doesn't do that. That's also why most people won't be exceptional. It's just the reality of it. So definitely really cool to see that. I'm happy for you that you obviously finally got to see that drop as well. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's still good. Don't get me wrong. Like, we still want to see like big changes like that and see the success too. But now we have so many other things that are going well for us, and we've kind of built in that time frame. So you can definitely weather, for lack of a better word, the storm to where it doesn't seem like things are going maybe the direction you want to, but knowing that it's going to build to something.
Yeah.
Um,
It was worth it.
Super cool there. Like that's true. That's amazing. Now, other than the habits, and you kind of went over some different ones there, which is great. I'd love to, because you are in a position now where you obviously lead a team at work and you're very good at leading other individuals. And I know that confidently just by the way you show up on our calls and the group calls and things of that nature. What would your, like, we go back to that old version of Josh when they're kind of seemingly stuck in that loop in life in general, not even just in fitness, what would you tell that person? Like that's maybe feeling like they're in that continual like Groundhog's Day almost, where nothing is seeming to go in the right direction or not able to make that first change.
And they're watching your Instagram posts and deciding whether or not they really should take you up on your offer for coaching, like
Yeah,
half of
exactly.
us do. Yeah. It took me a while, but I think today I would say, what if you do? Like, what if you do take Craig up on his offer to coach? What if you have that first call and explore what you really need to help you in your fitness and nutrition journey? What if you start? What if you do lose 25 pounds? What if you do stick with it for 3 years? What's possible? You would be surprised what's possible if you just say, yeah. What if I just say yes? What if I say yes and take you up on your repeated offers on social media, Craig, to to get some real coaching to help me with accountability and to sustain. Um, what's possible. And I think that's important mindset, important question for people to consider to help them get over the hump of you know, I don't know, it's not the right time for me. I'm too busy. I got all those excuses just like every other guy out there. But what if you do? What if I do schedule that call? What if I have some success? How will I feel? How will that impact other areas of my life? Like, just take a few minutes to think about that. And that's probably plenty of motivation to just hit the gas pedal and let's go.
I love
Hope
that. Yeah. Using the what
that's
if.
what I tell new people. I mean, I had a conversation with a young professional a couple weeks ago. I have someone on my team that is like taking a massive stretch assignment. And they're going to get up in front of a group of, I don't know, 50 people in about a month. And they're going to give a week-long training and they're going to drive some positive change at work. And they're going to have results that they're going to sustain after that. It's a significant challenge. They're like 25 years old. They're only a couple of years out of college. And another 25-year-old, a couple years out of college, came to me and was like, wow, that's really great that he gets to do that. And I was like, you could do this. Like,
Yeah.
what if you just
Yeah.
said yes next time someone
Yeah.
asked you to? Or what if you raised your hand and said, I'm interested?
Yeah.
Imagine where you would be or how you'd feel about your experience here at work if you just said yes. The same is true in our nutrition and fitness journey. The same is true in our relationships. The same is true in our family, our community lives. You know, what if you said yes? Like, I didn't have to say yes to be the leader of my professional organization, but I knew if I did, I would make a lot more professional connections. I would feel a whole lot less what's the word that they use? Just like fake or not belonging or imposter syndrome, right? I'd feel a whole lot less imposter syndrome about like whether I really belong. Um,
That's
and it
key.
works. I just said yes and it works. So
Yeah. No,
maybe that's what I encourage people to do.
yeah, I love that. You also said they're like using what ifs to your advantage. A lot of people look at the
Yeah.
what if in the negative scenario.
That's-
What about what if in the positive, right? Because you can
What
go,
if I fail?
yeah,
Yeah.
you can play both ways. And I think it's really cool that you think of it that way too. And that's like the catch 22 I always like to say is like people want to wait to take action until their situation change, but their situation won't change until they take that very action that they're likely avoiding.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I mean, it's tough, right? Because you don't usually realize it when you're the one in the scenario until you're out of it and you're like looking back. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know we're coming a little bit closer towards the end of our time here, and I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time, but I'd love to, if you don't mind, unpack a little bit into what we're doing this year, as far as challenge wise, because you mentioned just saying yes and just putting hard stuff on the calendar and just seeing what happens. And I'd love for you to unpack a little bit about what that is and what you're going to be partaking on coming up here shortly.
Yeah. So around the same time that I started tracking my Fitness Pal food intake about 4 years ago or so, um, I also started cycling because I realized that was the one exercise that I really loved when I was a kid. You get to jump on your bike and go anywhere, like just leave your house and go tool around the neighborhood, go explore. Obviously, it's even better when you get your first car, but just cycling was a great way to exercise and explore and just, kind of check out and get away from it all. Um, and that was sort of the hook that got me back into consistently exercising. Um, but I just kind of left that on the back burner. I would go cycle around the neighborhood with some friends during the pandemic. I bought a bike. Um, but I've always wanted to cycle here in the Pacific Northwest, this like milestone event called the Seattle to Portland Classic. It's a 206-mile, 2-day bike ride every July. Thousands of people register and do this. They crowd the interstate and the back roads from the city of Seattle all the way to downtown Portland, Oregon, and they just make a huge event out of it. It's a really strong cycling community in both of those cities, and they have cycling clubs and a lot of like supporting material to help us prepare. to help us find places to sleep and eat along the way. It's really great community, and I've always wanted to do it. So I signed up and I'm doing this crazy cycling event this year because I asked myself, what if I can? What if I can take my love of cycling and take that to the next level and do this crazy event and finish 206 miles in a weekend? What if I can cycle more than 50 miles, which was my previous like personal best?
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm here to say that after months of training, um, I have far surpassed 50 miles in a day. I think last Sunday I cycled 83 miles in a day.
Woo.
Um, and I'm already up to about 200 miles in a week, over 200 miles in a week as I'm preparing for this race. And I use that mindset on Sunday because I had hit my 170-mile goal for the weekend by like midday on Sunday. And usually I carve out a lot of that time in the
Something
day
light,
on
something light.
Sunday.
That's all.
And I
Yeah.
was like, well, what if I just do 30 more miles and just prove to myself that I can do 200 now? Why am I waiting until July to prove to myself I can do 200? So I did it. I did 30 extra miles on the bike on Sunday. And I proved to myself, and I think I'm convinced that I can do 206 miles in July. And as I work through the taper period that's coming up soon, I'm not worried that that's going to backslide in any way. I feel really well prepared. And of course, anything can happen. My goal is really just to finish the race, not to beat everyone. Not to finish the race first, but to just say I did that experience, I finished it, and then see what's possible afterwards.
No doubt. That's amazing, man. I'm so like ecstatic for you, genuinely, because you just learn so much during hard challenges like that, like about yourself when you're just away from everything else. Nothing else matters. Not work, doesn't matter what's in the calendar from last week, doesn't matter what's coming up. It just like it forces presence almost, like where you have to be present. And I mean, you have already realized that through riding right now, but I can't wait for you to experience that in like live action when it's actually in the event. So super cool. I can't wait. That's coming up. Sheesh, what is it? Beginning of
Uh,
wow, two.
2 months, about 2 months. Yeah.
Woo. It's exciting
It's
stuff.
gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take bite the medal, whatever cool swag I get.
Yes.
To have a cool finish line photo. You
Love
got to
it.
look good at the finish line, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be a memory I won't forget. But it is just setting a huge goal like that has helped me use that to kind of
Yeah.
change who I am every day leading up to that. So it forces you to kind of transform a little bit at a time to kind of reach those big goals. And they're not that scary when you do it a little bit at a time.
Exactly.
And like I said, I'm convinced now my next goal is maybe like ride across the country with one of my friends that does that.
That would
Why not?
be amazing. Yeah. Why, exactly. Why
Why
not?
not do it now rather
Yeah.
than 20 years from now when I'm retired?
Yeah.
There are things that I can do now that just had no idea were possible.
Yeah. I love that. Why not? Why not now? Just why not do it? Absolutely. Josh, I appreciate you hopping on with me so much. Like I mentioned, I know you got a lot going on, and the fact that you took time out of your day to hopefully inspire someone else in the same spot to just do it. Really, at the end of the day, just sign up, put the big thing on the calendar, something that scares you a little bit, and then just reverse engineer from there, and you can really tackle anything you put your mind to. And I've seen you do that in not only your fitness, and I know you're going to tackle that goal come July, but also within your career. Like every single time, like I'm gonna get the promotion, gets the promotion. Doesn't matter how long it takes, just a matter of when it's going to happen.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Hope you have a great day.